Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dojo 21 Questions. I'm Tish Hicks, the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California, and we are most honored and pleased to welcome Andia Winslow here for our Dojo 21 Questions today. Hi, Andia, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. So glad you could be here. I know you've been super busy with so many wonderful things. You ready for some questions?
Bring it on.
All right. So, what's your one word check-in for today? If you had to condense, concentrate, distill your state of being right now, what would your one word
So,
check-in be?
being, I would say presence. Being
Presence.
fully committed to the present moment, not fretting about the future to come or the past that's past. Being here with you, Tish Hicks, in the VO Dojo right now at this very moment. That is my.
Fantastic. Where are you from?
I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Awesome. And where do you live now?
Currently live in Los Angeles, California. So moved from the rain to the sun.
Excellent. What will we know your voice from?
I have this joke with my friends that I'm always with you, my child, because my voice is heard pretty much every day on the airwaves. A lot of commercial, a lot of promo. My signature is kind of the mantra or kind of the sports epic anthem. So, ESPN, Nike, all the sports teams, NFL, NBA, things like that, PBS, and I do a lot of long form narration for the news. So New York Times, The Atlantic, Rolling Stone. So a little bit of everything.
Excellent. So it's almost where wouldn't we know your voice from?
Not in e-learning because I have a hard time with that. Well,
Okay, so there's the exception.
video games, a lot of fun. So yeah, a lot of places.
Yay, yay. How long have you been doing voiceover?
I'm calling this my Olympic voiceover year. It's my fourth full year in the game, and it's been a great,
Wow.
great experience.
Wow. Wow. So much you've done. Who's your current team? Who does represents you or who do you work with to represent you? And who else supports you?
Right now, my mother agency is in at Los Angeles. It's DPN. That team there has been so remarkable, and I love our collaborative efforts. In New York City, I have a management JMT, Jason Marks Talent, and then I'm lucky to have representation regionally around the country. But I would just say beyond the professional representative, it's also my friends and family and collaborators artistically outside of VO who kind of inform what I do and keep me grounded and keep me hungry. So it's definitely a village has raised this child type ethos in my world professionally.
Yeah, we always say there's no they, there's only we
Mm,
here. So
yes,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. What is your recording setup like?
Recording setup, I have the lovely 416, which took
Mhm.
years to get during the pandemic because they were out. There's my bad boy. I've renamed him Nico. So Nico is on the team. We've got a Apollo Twin, got a home studio, professional home sound protection interface, Apollo Twin, Source Connect, and yeah, and a MacBook Pro.
Awesome.
Really
Excellent.
mobile.
Sounds good. And what's your VO origin story? How did you get started?
Hmm. So mine's a little bit different. I'm not coming from the world of acting or theater or performance in that way. I was a professional athlete who transitioned into sports performance coaching. So I was coaching for the New York City Marathon, coaching runners, and one of my runners was a agent, and she suggested, "Hey, you should consider voiceover." I didn't quite understand what it meant in professional terms. I knew that voiceover was the separation of the physical person from the voice, the disembodied voice, but I didn't know that it was a craft in itself and that it was this whole separate thing aside from acting
Mhm.
on camera. And so she suggested I take a look at it. My best friend got me some vocal lessons, and the instructor said, "I think you should consider not recreating and take this seriously." And I was like, whatever. And then my first booking was SAG Must Join. And so after I saw that check and the effort that it took and the collaborative process, I was like, wait a minute, sign me up to do. I have to run the training ahead, and that's how it started. So it was kind of I guess, a vocal discovery on the streets of
Mhm.
Manhattan. So that's how it happened.
Excellent. Sometimes we call that the helicopter coming. When the helicopter comes, if the top of the mountain is the sustained, successful voiceover career, when the helicopter comes, get on it and take it as far up as you can and stay there, stay
Listen,
stay there as long as you can, build from
trying to
there.
ride Tish. We're trying to see all the sights.
Yeah. Um, and this kind of ties into the next question, but I would imagine that the discipline it takes to be a professional athlete translates to the discipline and dedication and consistency, all the things that is required to be a professional voiceover artist. But what would you say the top three ingredients to your successful voiceover career?
Well, what you said just then is exactly, I think, the reason I've had success. You just keep going. You always show up. But I think for me personally, now that I'm looking at more as an artist, now I'm understanding the craft of acting as a separate discipline in itself. Curiosity is the first.
Mm.
I would say curiosity is what sustains me in all genres. Discipline is the next, and then professionalism is the third. So the
Mhm.
talent is not the thing, the luck is not the thing. It's being curious over a sustained amount of time, showing up, doing the work, and being a person of your word, and being professional, because this is a business after all. It is a creative business, but it's still a business.
Yeah, yeah, powerful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, well, we talked about the next question is about your big break. Do you consider anything a big break?
Have I achieved my big break yet? Maybe it's still coming. I don't know. I think big break is all about perspective. When I first started, my big break was, joining the union. And then
Mhm.
my next big break was getting an audition. And then my next big break was getting a callback. And then it was booking something. And then it was going to the studio with real, professional engineers, and like people asking you, would you like some throat coat? Would you like some, this tea that was pressed by the bosom of the virgin? Like, would you like, cheese grits? I'm like, would you like an omelet? I'm like, I don't know, so many choices. So the big break changes, it morphs based on your experience. But I think that the moment that I knew that I wasn't just recreating, that I knew that this is something that I wanted to do,
Mhm.
that I was good at and could improve at, was a day I booked a Macy's spot campaign, a Coca-Cola campaign, the voice of PBS, and a AAA video game on the same day. And I was like, wait a second, I I do this. I think my confidence was like kind of like Artemis rocket to the moon. I was like, oh, I'm here, and this is what I'll be doing, because I
Wow.
but it was a time until I got there. But I definitely feel like that was not the big break, but a breaking point. It was getting through a sticking point.
Right, right, right. Well, if the universe wasn't making the message clear enough, here's 4 campaigns in a day. That's
He said,
amazing.
"This is the path you will trod."
That's a powerful story. Um, and then how long is it from meeting the agent through the marathon to um, to where you've been able to make a full-time living, or with 4 campaigns in a day, I'm assuming you're doing pretty okay. Uh, is voiceover your full-time living? And then what was that time frame?
I think meeting the agent, I there was lag because I wasn't. So I said, that's very nice, because I was fully involved in another career. I was a fitness professional and I was a thought leader in that industry. So things were going great. There was no need for me to transition out of something that was going well. Um, and I think it wasn't until the fun of those lessons, which was probably a year later, when I actually took the lessons,
Mhm.
and then it was maybe a couple months after that that I booked a gig just on a whim using a pay to play site, which I no longer use, but at that point that was the only thing for me. Uh,
Mhm.
and then it's interesting, because I was a must join and I had no experience. I was not able to book anything or to go out for it because I was not agented. So there was
Mm.
nothing for me to do. So I kind of sat for about a year not doing anything, because I didn't have representation, nor did I have access to auditions. So I couldn't
Mhm.
audition for SAG work. So I used that year, 2017, to take all the classes. I read all the books, I watched all the vlogs, I went to everything, any networking event. I did everything for an entire year. I committed myself. You will probably not be making any money, but you're going to work, full steam ahead on this craft. And that year is what did the trick. So uh,
Mhm.
I call that my top ramen and peanut butter sandwich year. It's very lean.
Because you were
So
building you were building your business.
building my business. Well, I was building the craft of understanding the business because I didn't have a business.
Right.
But
Right.
I had expenses. I just got sold everything, and I lived very, very lean. And I was able to learn, and the learning and the curiosity. I'm very thankful, for example, for the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, VO Lab, the Don LaFontaine Lab, because that's where I
Mhm.
got a lot of my knowledge. Met a lot of wonderful people. Bill Ratner, Sophia Viagran, things like that. It was a remarkable experience. So about a year.
Yeah, excellent. Wow, that's powerful. Powerful where that year of focused, intense training,
Hmm.
and then you were ready to run.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. W did you it sounds like you really dropped everything else and really committed to this. Is that accurate? Were you
Yeah.
doing anything else while you were doing it?
Well, I was still, consulting for brands, doing kind of fitness ideation, things like that, because I've still had bills to pay, and family commitments. But I definitely made every effort to learn everything. The curiosity really drove me. I mean, like I said, people think I'm exaggerating when I say read everything. I read everything about. I went all the rabbit holes. I've been under the ground for a very long time, reading all.
Yeah.
I asked all the questions. I saw who the major. It was market research, is what it was.
Mhm.
I looked every website of every talented person who's at the top of the game, see what they were doing, see who their agents were, who their teachers were, who their associates were. Every book, every how-to, every video, every podcast. I consumed it all, and then only after that did I say I have a broad understanding of what this thing is.
Mhm.
And as a result, I had the confidence to enter, and I had the confidence to ask the questions that would actually yield answers that I needed.
That's powerful. What are you proudest of in your voiceover career?
Hmm, it's a really interesting question. Uh, I think I'm proud of the work that I did during the pandemic, which was hard for all of us, but there was an opportunity for me to be a reader for the news. And so I
Mm.
was basically narrating twin pandemics that were visible at this time. The global health pandemic, and also the pandemic of racism in this country, that I think a lot of
Mm.
people have been very hesitant to address in the past, and they were forced finally for the first time in their life to witness it, and to understand that this is something that exists for all of us. Um, so to be able to tell stories that were very impactful and powerful
Mm.
and powerful, to sobering, to be able to be a voice to help bring people along, in a narrative that has been often forgotten or uh, um, maligned, I think was really. I took it very, very seriously. It was a very depressing couple of years for me because, of course,
Mm.
every day I'm reading the news, it's just strife with despair and pain. And I was very in an emotional state. Trapped in
Mhm.
my padded room reading about death and destruction every single day was a lot. But I think as a result,
Wow.
um, I was a voice for change in an industry where I often question if I was actually making a difference. And so those 2 years proved to me that yes, you are making a difference, because people said, "Hey, I don't want to read that," but hearing it was cathartic. Or I did not know that, and now I do because I heard it. Or I wouldn't have read that audiobook, but I did because your voice made it palatable. So being a vessel to disseminate information that was important, that was, I think, really something I'll cherish.
Wow. That also is really we talk about the exchange of vibrational energy being the basis of everything that we do in voiceover here. That's like really can feel that. Yay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Our voices are powerful things, aren't they?
Hmm.
When we recognize it. Yeah. What's
Definitely.
what's been the biggest challenge or fear in your voiceover career?
I don't know. Fear was not in my vocabulary. I think if I was afraid, I would not be where I am. Challenge would be bring coming back to what we first discussed, like the word I'm working on, presence. I
Mm.
think in this business, the job is auditioning, right? So when you get a gig, you're like, wow, this is actually like this is something to celebrate because it's on top of the normal job. But the gig is like a
Mhm.
separate party. But realizing that though you are auditioning daily and you don't hear that things could be building. So staying committed to the process, not wondering what's happening in the future, staying committed
Mhm.
to work every day, things that are within your control. And then remembering, I think, kind of like the old timers say, every delay is not a denial, and realizing that
Mm.
just because you're not selected for that gig doesn't mean something better or something that's better suited to you is not coming. So just keep treading, keep moving up the mountain, keep doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I think that's a situational. I'm both. I'm both.
Mm.
I'm very extroverted and goofy at times, but I'm also very keen to stay by myself, especially in this career we're by ourselves, siloed most of the
Yeah,
time.
that's why
But
I asked the question. It really requires finding the blend. If you lean this way, you have to develop this way, and if you lean this way, you have to. So it sounds like you naturally
both for
have
sure.
have found both.
But
That's
you know how it is. Like if you get a chance to go into a studio, you're like, let me out. Yes, I want these 2 years. Really, just being with people is just what a joy and what a.
Yeah,
So I'm both for sure.
excellent, excellent. And if you could do voiceover from anywhere, where would it be?
In a studio, a professional studio with the bevy of snacks.
Okay. Excellent. I always say that I
Go
always
ahead.
say that the work we do every day, like in our booths and doing our auditions, is like taking a shower, and then when we go to the studio, that's like having a spa day.
Oh yeah, luxuriate, baby, luxuriate. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I've had my rig all over the world. I mean, I've recorded in some very strange places. One that comes to mind a lot is I was in Tunisia and there's a walk-in safe. I recorded in there, like car park in Portugal, a library stacks in London, a toilet at Chicago O'Hare. Like, we can really be everywhere, and that's what makes it. If we have good Wi-Fi or quiet situation, we can vibe anywhere. So that's kind of why I love this career as well.
Yeah. No, this isn't a question I ask everyone, but you have also opened up to an on-camera career through your voiceover. How did that happen, and then how do you blend the two? I always find I think that not always, but sometimes I find that people who do on-camera don't do voiceover because they think it's going to take away, when I think actually going to the place of presence and just being here. The microphone is actually even more sensitive than the camera, that it actually adds to anything you're doing on camera. But what has your journey been with that, and how do you combine the two?
That is Tish with the questions. Let's see. The on-camera things for me is a little bit different. Again, I was not a theater person. I was not trained in that way, improv or anything like that. I think I had done some broadcasting, some sport broadcasting, and then for fitness, I was on camera delivering messaging. But these are all
Mm,
facts, not fiction-based work that I did on camera. So during the pandemic, I was offered a chance to be a lead in a golf movie, and I was a professional golfer. So for me, that wasn't acting because I just was doing what I do, and cameras were watching. And
right.
then, then the second year, I was offered a role in A League of Their Own, which is a baseball movie, and I played baseball growing up. So again, it was like my sport on camera, and then some acting as well. So I learned how to act on those sets, and I think what I learned most about that experience was acting, in my estimation, my very limited experience. For me, I should say it again. For me, what I saw was acting is just listening.
Mm,
It's listening on camera. And then in voiceover on the booth, that's what it is too. It's you're listening to direction, people listening to you. It's about communicating a message so that people are moved. And so taking direction was something I was very good at from being an athlete and also from being a voice actor. I take direction very well, and I can give you 5, 10, 12, 27 options. So if they ask me to do something, oh, I can pull from, I can improv. Is it improv? I guess that's improv. I've never done
mhm.
it formally, but I will say on camera was weird because, I had some romantic scenes and I'm like, wait, so I've got to kiss this person with all y'all watching with a wig on? Like it's a lot. So
Wow.
I definitely was thrown right into the action, as it were. And I am very intrigued about the process. I'm now looking more into on camera as a new craft. It's totally separate from voiceover. Yes, some of the things I learned in voiceover are inform acting, but it's its own craft. And so I'm curious. So I think that curiosity will drive me to the next
Yeah,
level of that as well. Thanks
that's
for asking.
excellent. Excellent. Universe has been delivering good things. It's
Definitely,
powerful.
definitely has.
Very powerful. Let's see. What would you say your voiceover motto is?
Do the work without a doubt. Do the
Do
work.
the work.
Do the work.
Awesome. Yeah. And what is your daily practice or what is a typical voiceover day for you?
I'm not sure if there's any typical day for voiceover beyond, auditions, but I wake up very early. I kind of do some personal writing. I drink tea. I read the papers, and then I exercise without fail. It could be,
Mhm.
walking, hiking, cycling, lifting weights, calisthenics. That's a must. So moving meditation for me. And I think that a lot of folks don't realize this brain body continuum. The more fit you are physically, the more fit you will be mentally. The more mental acuity, the more you'll be able to pivot and be agile. I think a lot of folks just don't, either they don't realize it or they don't acknowledge how important physicality is. We're physical in the booth. When you're doing a video or game or animation session, even a commercial, when you're trying to drive home a point, you use your body. And I'm very physical in the booth. And that physicality informs my work. And I think that's why my work is so dynamic and I have such a big range because I'm actually moving. And if
Mhm.
a session that's 4 hours, whether it be audiobooks where you're really constrained or something where you're asked to call out a lot of characters, it's endurance. And the more physically fit you are, the more you'll endure. And so for me, that's a very big part of my day. After a long stretch of auditions, I'll go out, do some calisthenics, walk, meditate, shake things out. And then I have auditions all day. And then I pretty much gig every day too. So my day is, I wouldn't call it 9 to 5, but it's pretty much the same. And that could be on the weekends as well. So
Mhm.
always working, and just reading as much as possible, not just things that you're directed to by clients, but reading about what's happening in our world. Because if you know more, the more informed you are, the better you will be an artist, and the more you can bring into your copy and your direction from your creative team.
Mhm. Yeah. One of the things we're brewing up for the coming year is something called a volition walk, a voiceover, like getting together to go on a hike or go on a walk
Oh, wonderful. I love
and
it.
just, talk about voiceover or just get out, connect and move. So
I
that's
love
really cool. That's
it.
really cool. Um, but knowing what you know now, what would you say to yourself from the beginning of your journey?
Ooh, what would I say? I would probably just say persist,
Mhm.
persist, because this is a highly subjective field, and we're also at the whims of the global economy. If there's a recession, brands don't have as much money to do commercials. They might do commercials without voiceover, or they may
Mhm.
reuse content from the past, and there's no need. So, persist. Uh, make certain that you manage your money properly because there will be lean times. But always work to grow your craft, even when nothing is happening, because you don't know when things are happening. And it,
Yeah, that seems a really recurring theme of everything that you shared. Just
Mhm.
keep on going because you don't know what's going on.
You literally have no idea. I booked a
Mm.
gig yesterday that I auditioned for 2 years ago.
Wow.
I had been working on why did I not get this, or what's going on, then who knows. But I didn't know that was they were just ahead of time. They were just, stewing themselves, brewing something up, and here it is, 2 years
Right.
later. So you really just don't know. So just persist.
That's powerful. And our last question, what's your next goal or desire, voiceover or otherwise? What are you
My next goal,
what's your
to find
vision?
find a good sandwich for lunch.
Short term, long term, it all adds up.
Snacks. It's the most important in my life. My my next goal in voiceover. I have worked so much in the commercial space that I
Mhm,
really want to explore now more of the animation space. I've been doing interactive pretty successfully for a bit now, but
mhm,
animation intrigues me, and I think it's something that everybody wants. But I I see everyone who's doing animation having so much fun, and fun not just in the way that I have fun, but fun like giddy children. I'm like, I want to be a giddy child. I want to step my toe in that world. So I've got a couple projects coming up there, and animation is what everyone says it is. It is a lot of fun, and it is like hanging out with the 12-year-old you and a whole bunch of other 12-year-olds, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So probably,
Right.
just exploring new genres, and also just for me, I always love to collaborate. So my goal is just to collaborate with new people and create epic stuff.
Yay. Well, this has been so fantastic. Thanks for collaborating with us here today. So
Thank you.
inspirational, and look forward to all the goodness ahead. And love that the orders up to the universe. Order up, more animation. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Andy. It's been fantastic, and we'll look forward to seeing you for Ask the Sensei soon.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. See you soon.
Excellent.